Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into the essential skill of writing business emails in English. Whether you're sending a formal email or a casual one, understanding the tone and structure is crucial.
Absolutely. Business emails are a key part of professional communication. They can define how you're perceived in the workplace, and they often serve as the foundation for professional relationships.
It's fascinating, isn't it? A simple email can make or break your professional image. It's not just about the content, it's about how you deliver it.
Exactly. In many cases, an email is the first impression someone will have of you, especially in international communication where face-to-face meetings aren't always possible.
That's so true. An email can convey your professionalism, your attention to detail, and even your personality. But if done poorly, it can lead to misunderstandings, delays, and even conflicts.
We've all been there receiving an unclear or poorly worded email that leaves us confused or even frustrated. That's why today's discussion is so important. We'll cover every aspect of writing a business email, from crafting the perfect subject line to signing off professionally.
And by the end of this episode, you'll have a toolkit of tips and strategies to make sure your emails are always clear, concise, and effective. Let's get started. Before you even think about typing, the first step is understanding the purpose of your email. What do you want to achieve with this message? Are you requesting information, confirming a meeting, giving feedback, or perhaps following up on a previous discussion?
That's right, Jennifer. Knowing your purpose is the key to staying focused. Without a clear objective, it's easy to ramble on or include unnecessary details that can confuse the recipient.
It's amazing how often people start writing without a clear purpose in mind, and that's where things go off track. The purpose should be the backbone of your email. It informs the structure, the content, and even the tone.
And sometimes, it's not just one purpose, but multiple. In such cases, it's crucial to prioritize. Decide what the main point is and make sure that comes across clearly, even if the reader only skims the email.
Exactly. For example, if you're following up on a project, your primary goal might be to remind the recipient of an upcoming deadline, but you might also want to check in on their progress or ask if they need any help.
Yes, and in those situations, clarity is key. You might start with your main point and then follow up with secondary information. That way, even if the recipient doesn't have time to read the whole email, they'll at least get the most important part.
And don't forget to consider the recipient's perspective. What do they need to know? What action do you want them to take after reading your email? Keeping these questions in mind will help you stay focused and ensure that your email is effective. Let's talk about the subject line, which is arguably one of the most important parts of your email. It's the first thing your recipient sees, and it often determines whether they'll open your email immediately, save it for later, or ignore it altogether.
Absolutely. A well-crafted subject line is like a good headline. It grabs attention and makes the reader want to know more. But it's not just about being catchy, it's about being clear and specific.
For instance, a subject line like meeting is vague and doesn't tell the recipient much. Instead, something like meeting confirmation, project update for August 25th is much more informative and sets the expectation for the content of your email.
Exactly. It's also important to keep your subject line concise. You want to convey the main point without being too wordy. Think of it as a summary of your email in one short sentence.
And tone matters too. If your email is formal, your subject line should reflect that. If it's more casual or internal, you can afford to be a bit more relaxed, but still clear.
Another thing to consider is urgency. If you need a quick response, you might include words like urgent or action required in the subject line. But use these sparingly or they might lose their effectiveness.
Absolutely. Overusing urgency in subject lines can make you seem like the boy who cried wolf. People might start to ignore your emails if everything is urgent. Reserve those labels for truly time-sensitive matters. In summary, a good subject line is informative, concise, and reflects the tone and urgency of the email. It's your first and best chance to make a positive impression and ensure your email gets the attention it deserves. Moving on to the greeting, which is another critical component of your email. The way you greet your recipient sets the tone for the rest of the email. It's the first indication of how formal or informal the communication will be.
That's right. A formal greeting, like Dear Mr. Johnson, is appropriate for professional settings, especially when you're writing to someone you don't know well or someone in a higher position.
On the other hand, if you have a more casual relationship with the recipient, "Hi Sarah" or "Hello James" might be more appropriate. It's less formal but still respectful.
Exactly. And if you're addressing multiple people, you could say hi team or dear all, depending on the level of formality. The key is to match your greeting to the context of the email and the relationship you have with the recipient.
And what about those times when you're not sure how formal you should be? My rule of thumb is to start more formal and then adjust based on how the recipient responds.
That's a good strategy. If they respond with a less formal greeting, like "Hi Jennifer," then you can probably do the same in your next email.
And let's not forget the importance of personalizing your greeting when possible. Using the recipient's name adds a personal touch and makes the email feel more directed and intentional.
It's a small detail, but it can make a big difference. People appreciate the effort, and it shows that you're attentive and considerate in your communication.
Now that we've covered the greeting, let's talk about the opening line. This is where you set the stage for the rest of your email. A strong opening line can grab the recipient's attention and make them want to keep reading.
Yes, the opening line is your chance to establish context and make a good impression. For example, if you're following up on a previous conversation, you might start with, "I hope you're doing well. I wanted to follow up on our discussion from last week."
That's a great example. It's polite, acknowledges the recipient, and gets straight to the point. Another approach could be to express appreciation, like "Thank you for your prompt response to my last email."
And if you're initiating contact, you could start with something like, "I'm writing to introduce myself and to discuss ... single quotes." This immediately tells the recipient who you are and why you're reaching out.
It's also a good idea to acknowledge any previous communication or relationship, as it helps to build rapport. For example, "It was a pleasure meeting you at the conference last week. I'm writing to follow up on our conversation."
That's right. By connecting your email to a previous interaction, you're reminding the recipient of the context, which can help make your message more relevant and engaging.
And if you're writing in response to something, it's courteous to acknowledge the recipient's effort or contribution. For example, "Thank you for sharing the project details. I've reviewed them and would like to discuss the next steps."
In short, your opening line should be polite, relevant, and aligned with the purpose of your email. It sets the tone for the rest of the message and can make the difference between your email being read right away or being put aside for later.
Now that we've covered the opening line, let's delve into structuring the body of your email. This is where you'll convey the main message, so clarity and organization are paramount.
Absolutely. A well-structured email body ensures that your message is easily understood and that the recipient can quickly grasp the key points. One effective method is to break your content into short, manageable paragraphs, each focusing on a single idea or topic.
That's a great point. Large blocks of text can be intimidating and difficult to read. By using shorter paragraphs, you make your email more reader-friendly. Additionally, using bullet points or numbered lists can help highlight important information or steps, making it easier for the recipient to follow.
Exactly. For example, if you're outlining the steps for a project, a numbered list can provide clear, sequential instructions. Similarly, bullet points are excellent for listing items, benefits, or features without implying any particular order.
Another key aspect is coherence. Ensure that each paragraph flows logically to the next. Transitional phrases like "furthermore," "in addition," or however can help guide the reader through your thoughts and arguments smoothly.
And let's not forget about keeping your message concise. While it's important to be thorough, overly verbose emails can lose the reader's attention. Aim to communicate your points clearly and directly without unnecessary filler.
Agreed. It's also helpful to prioritize information based on its importance. Start with the most critical points and then provide additional details as needed. This way, even if the recipient skims the email, they'll grasp the essential information.
To summarize, structuring the body of your email with clear paragraphs, bullet points or lists, coherent transitions, and concise language will make your communication more effective and professional.
Next, let's discuss the importance of language and tone in your business emails. The way you phrase your message can significantly impact how it's received.
That's right. The tone of your email should align with the purpose and the relationship you have with the recipient. For instance, a formal tone is appropriate when communicating with clients or senior colleagues, while a more casual tone might be suitable for internal team communications.
Exactly. Using the right level of formality shows respect and professionalism. Phrases like, I would appreciate it if ... single quotes, or could you please ... single quotes are polite and considerate ways to make requests.
On the other hand, overly casual language or slang can come across as unprofessional in formal business settings. It's important to strike the right balance based on the context and your audience.
Another aspect to consider is the use of positive language. Framing your messages positively can foster better relationships and encourage cooperation. Instead of saying, I can't attend the meeting, you might say, I regret that I won't be able to attend the meeting.
That's a great example. Positive language not only conveys your message more effectively, but also helps in maintaining a constructive and respectful tone, even when addressing issues or providing feedback.
Additionally, clarity is crucial. Avoid jargon or overly complex sentences that might confuse the reader. Aim for clear, straightforward language that conveys your message without ambiguity.
And don't forget to be mindful of cultural differences, especially in international communications. What might be considered polite or appropriate in one culture could be perceived differently in another. Being aware of these nuances can help prevent misunderstandings.
In summary, using appropriate language and tone tailored to your audience and purpose enhances the effectiveness of your business emails and fosters positive professional relationships. Let's move on to making requests and giving instructions within your emails. These are common tasks in business communication, and doing them effectively is essential.
Absolutely. When making a request, it's important to be clear about what you need and by when. Vague or ambiguous requests can lead to confusion and delays.
For instance, instead of saying, can you send me the report soon? It's better to specify, could you please send me the quarterly report by Friday, August 30th? This provides a clear deadline and context.
That's a good point. Including specific details helps the recipient understand exactly what is expected of them and by when. It also shows that you've thought through your request carefully.
When giving instructions, clarity and conciseness are key. Break down the steps in a logical order and use bullet points or numbered lists to enhance readability.
For example, if you're instructing a team member on how to complete a task, you might say, please follow these steps to update the database. 1. Log into the system. 2. Navigate to the users section. 3. Update the necessary fields ... single quotes. This approach makes the instructions easy to follow.
Additionally, it's helpful to provide any necessary context or background information. This ensures that the recipient understands the importance of the task and how it fits into the bigger picture.
And always be considerate and polite, even when giving instructions. Using phrases like please ensure that ... or I would appreciate it if you could ... maintains a respectful tone and encourages cooperation.
In summary, clear and specific requests and instructions delivered in a polite and organized manner enhance communication effectiveness and help achieve desired outcomes. Now, let's discuss the importance of following up and confirming tasks or requests in business emails. These steps are essential to ensure that everything is on track and that nothing falls through the cracks.
That's right. A well-timed follow-up email can remind the recipient of an outstanding task or request, helping to keep projects moving forward.
Exactly. When following up, it's important to be polite and considerate. A simple message like, "I wanted to check in on the status of ... or just a friendly reminder ... single quotes can be effective without coming across as too pushy.
And if you're confirming a task or meeting, it's crucial to restate the details clearly. For example, just to confirm, our meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. on Thursday, August 31st. This helps avoid any misunderstandings.
Additionally, it's a good idea to acknowledge when someone has completed a task or responded to a request. A quick "thank you for completing the report" or "I appreciate your prompt response" goes a long way in maintaining positive communication.
Absolutely. Positive reinforcement encourages timely and accurate responses in the future. It also builds good rapport with colleagues and clients.
To sum up, following up and confirming are key elements of effective email communication. They help ensure that tasks are completed on time and that everyone is on the same page. Let's tackle a more challenging aspect of business email writing: handling difficult conversations. Whether it's delivering bad news or addressing a conflict, email can be a sensitive medium for such topics.
That's true. When you have to communicate something difficult, it's crucial to approach the situation with empathy and professionalism.
Absolutely. Start by acknowledging the situation or the recipient's perspective. For instance, "I understand that this news may be disappointing ... or "I appreciate the effort you've put into this project." But ... single quotes can soften the impact of what you're about to say.
It's also important to be clear and direct. Beating around the bush can create confusion or frustration. State the issue or decision clearly but with a respectful tone.
And whenever possible, offer solutions or next steps. For example, "While we cannot move forward with this proposal, I suggest we explore other opportunities ... single quotes. This shows that you're not just presenting a problem, but are also focused on moving forward.
Additionally, make sure to keep the conversation constructive. Avoid language that might come across as accusatory or inflammatory. Focus on facts and possible resolutions.
Finally, be prepared to follow up with a phone call or face-to-face meeting if the situation warrants it. Some discussions are better handled in person or over the phone to ensure that tone and intent are clearly conveyed.
In summary, handling difficult conversations via email requires a careful balance of empathy, clarity, and professionalism. By approaching these situations thoughtfully, you can maintain strong working relationships even when delivering tough messages.
Now, let's talk about how to close your business emails effectively. The way you end your email can leave a lasting impression, so it's important to get it right.
Absolutely. A professional closing helps reinforce the tone of your email and ensures that your message is received as intended.
A common and effective way to close an email is by summarizing any actions that need to be taken. For example, "Please let me know if you need any further information," or "I look forward to your response by Friday."
That's right. This type of closing not only provides clarity, but also prompts the recipient to take the necessary steps.
It's also important to choose an appropriate sign-off. Common options include "best regards," "sincerely," or "kind regards," depending on the level of formality required.
And don't forget to include your contact information if it isn't already in your signature. This makes it easy for the recipient to reach out with any questions or follow up.
In summary, a well-crafted closing that summarizes key points and includes a professional sign-off can help ensure your business emails are both effective and well-received. Before you hit send, there's one final but crucial step that can't be overlooked: proofreading and reviewing your email thoroughly. This isn't just about catching typos or correcting grammar, although those are important aspects. It's about making sure that your email reflects your professionalism, clarity, and attention to detail.
Absolutely. Think of your email as a direct reflection of your communication skills and, by extension, your professional reputation. Even a minor mistake can change how your message is perceived. For example, a typo in a key client's name could be seen as a lack of care, and unclear phrasing might lead to misunderstandings or confusion.
Right. So, how do we go about proofreading effectively? First, it's important to read through your email at least twice. The first read-through should be focused on the overall structure and clarity of the content. Ask yourself, is my message clear? Does the email flow logically? Have I addressed all necessary points?
That's a good starting point. For the second read-through, focus on the details. Look for any spelling or grammatical errors. Don't just rely on spell checkers. They might miss context-specific errors or suggest changes that don't fit the tone or meaning of your message. For example, spell check might not catch that you've used affect when you meant effect, or it might suggest there when there is the correct usage.
Exactly. Another effective technique is to read your email out loud. This helps you catch awkward phrasings or sentences that might be difficult for the recipient to understand. Sometimes, when we read silently, our brains fill in the gaps, making it easy to miss errors or unclear wording.
Yes, and consider the tone of your email while reading it out loud. Does it come across as polite and professional? Are there any parts where the tone might be misinterpreted? Tone is often the hardest part of an email to get right because it's so dependent on the relationship with the recipient and the context of the conversation. A phrase that might seem neutral to you could come across as abrupt or even rude to someone else, especially if the recipient is from a different cultural background.
That's a great point. It's also worth considering whether your email is too formal or too informal for the situation. Tailoring your tone to match the formality of the relationship and the nature of the content is key. For instance, a formal email might end with sincerely, while a more casual one could use best or cheers.
And don't forget to check the practical details, like ensuring that the subject line accurately reflects the content of the email. A misleading or unclear subject line could mean your email gets overlooked or misfiled. Additionally, confirm that all the attachments you mentioned are included. It's surprisingly easy to forget to attach a file, and this can cause delays and frustration.
That's right. Also, verify that all names, dates, and specific details are correct. There's nothing worse than sending out an email where you've misspelled someone's name or mixed up important dates. It's these small details that can make or break the effectiveness of your communication.
Finally, before sending, consider the recipient's perspective one last time. Have you provided all the necessary information? Is your message clear and concise? If you were the recipient, would you understand what is being asked or conveyed without needing to ask for clarification? This final check can help ensure your email is as effective as possible.
In summary, taking the time to thoroughly proofread and review your email before sending is crucial. It ensures that your message is clear, professional, and free of errors, ultimately reflecting well on you and your communication skills.